After a tribe of Indians massacred his family, Ethan Edwards begins his search far and wide for vengeance and his captured niece in 1956's The Searchers.
It's John Wayne as Ethan Edwards, who had a rare kind of courage. The courage that simply keeps on and on, far beyond all reasonable endurance, never thinking of himself as martyred, never thinking of himself as brave.
So we'll find him in the end, I promise you. We'll find him.
Now I'm going to start right off the bat and say that The Searchers is John Wayne's greatest movie ever. Western or whatever. He's got several great movies, most of them westerns, I guess. Red River, Stagecoach. They're great films, but they don't even compare, in my opinion, to The Searchers. The Searchers is, in my opinion, the western movie that sets the bar for other western movies, especially in that older generation. I mean, I think you can kind of separate it in the, I guess, like the John Wayne era and like the Clint Eastwood era, more towards the contemporary modern time. And those were two very different types of western movies. There was a mythology, there was a rule system that the hero had to go by, and this was pretty much anything that John Wayne has said before in terms of what his characters should be, what they should do. He said things like he'll never apologize. That's a sign of weakness, or that was something that he felt for his characters. So he felt very strongly towards the genre, and it was very important to him. As did his director John Ford, who this is definitely one of his best, but he's got a very large array of great movies. I think the one that comes to mind most for me is The Grapes of Wrath. So it's kind of tough to say that Searchers is his best because he's done so many different kinds of movies, but in terms of westerns, yeah, I think it's his best as well. I guess what sets it apart for me mostly is I think the imagery, the way that it's shot. John Ford really captures I guess the beauty of I think it's Middle West America. A lot of it's shot in Texas. I think some of it's shot in Arizona, but it's all on location, and it's so beautiful. They really capture the vastness of just that whole way of life, that whole time period. The movie was shot in 1956, and the decision was made to do it in Technicolor, and it's done beautifully in Technicolor. It actually looks very crisp and clean. I mean, that probably has a lot to do with it being restored, but just overall, it was a best decision to shoot the film in color as opposed to black and white, which is a major decision. Even in those days, in the 50s. There are many strong layers of racism that is included in the film. The movie star, John Wayne, which I think, many people, today's interpretations of John Wayne is that he was a racist, and, they're probably right, but I don't watch him for his political views. I watch him for his storytelling. I guess that puts me on record as a racist. The fact that the main character is a racist, it just makes it so much more colorful and in-depth. It's not such a, bland good guys versus bad guys, cowboys versus Indians, even though that's what it is. And the Native Americans, as they often are in films in those days, are very negatively portrayed. The upshot of that is that the hero, Ethan Edwards, is also negatively portrayed too, because he's not a nice man, but he's got a great supporting cast, including Jeffrey Hunter, who's kind of his partner in their search for his niece, and he's a very young actor at the time, but very strong performance. He has a lot to do to keep up with John Wayne and to kind of keep whatever honest qualities that he has left prevalent, which I think very hard role to pull off, especially the way that it's written. It's not really Oscar-winning stuff, but I think all the actors did great with what they had. Speaking of great actors in support, Ward Bond, who was one of John Ford's favorite actors, great character actor. He's in almost every single old American classic that you can think of, but he's only in it for like 2 or 3 minutes. That's kind of, I guess, the treat that Ward Bond gives you, just a little tease of Ward Bond. Also, you'll see that Vera Miles is in the picture. This is Vera Miles, very young, before Psycho. She was really on her way to becoming a star, but I guess things just didn't work out in the end for her. Although I think she's a terrific actress. And also, you will find Natalie Wood, who is just beginning to transition from child star to more adult roles, beginning with Rebel Without a Cause the year before this. So it's nice. I don't know. It's always nice to see Natalie Wood in a movie. So, but getting back to the themes of racism, I actually attended a seminar with Spike Lee, in which he bashes John Ford and John Wayne, and I think there's a lot of people in the film community who kind of boycott certain movies because of the negative portrayal of Native Americans. And I mean, maybe I'm just a little desensitized to it, but I just like a good story. I'm not really trying to get involved in politics. It's just, I mean, you might find it discomforting to see that Native Americans are kind of painted with this wash of being like just these savage villains or whatever. But you know what? From what history tells, some of them were, and I think this is a realistic telling of Indians and white people. I tend to overlook any of that stuff. It really doesn't damage the movie in my eyes. In fact, there's one thing about the movie that does kind of make me squint a little bit, and that's just there's this kind of god-awful injection of this kind of stupid humor. Some of the characters are kind of, I don't know, they really kind of play the stereotypical hick. I think they, hire country music stars for these things at the time, country music stars, I guess, and just, try to gloss it up and make it a little bit more, I don't know, kind of like today's blockbusters, or they just kind of throw in the schmozzy kind of humor, and it just at times just gets very, very annoying. But only slightly sometimes. But main points, like it's whatever little things are wrong with the movie, it's just an incredible example of cinema, particularly the Western genre, which is I think the only mythos that American culture has. So people can shoot it down and they cannot get it, but this is our country's, this is our genre. This is our genre that we created, and I think this movie is the finest example of that genre. Just like I said, there's so much more added depth to it. It's not so black and white. It's not so clean as good guys and bad guys. It's well written. I think particularly for John Wayne, which of course he is, but at the same time, the man has great delivery. Particularly look out for his turning of the earth speech. It's so beautifully shot, and it's so it's a still shot, and I'm not gonna go into it too much, but it's really just terrific. I always stop whatever I'm doing whenever it's on and just watch it. So let me know what you thought of The Searchers. How does it stand up to other westerns of that time period, and how does it stand up to what your idea of the greater westerns of the more contemporary generations, like Your Good, the Bad, and the Uglies, your Outlaws of Josie Wales, Unforgiven, films like that. And that's pretty much it.